Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So I feel like maybe I could. Hold on, let's go down a little bit. No, wrong one. Right. Yeah. So this is a very special live stream we're doing, and it's basically a chance for me and Jim to use the excuse of the book event June on the Range to talk about a very special game because it's like a Western themed game. So we're bouncing off June on the Range. So we're going to talk about June on the Range in a minute and what we've been reading and what we might read after that. And then we'll talk about the game. So it's all about Red Dead Redemption, which you probably saw in the thumbnail. So please, when we're chatting, if you want to tell us if you play Red Dead Redemption or what you remember from it, if you used to play it, because it's actually quite old now, and we'll go from there. It's not gonna. I don't think this is gonna be a big marathon one like some of the live streams that I've done.
Yeah, it depends on how many people out there play the game.
yeah. That's a good point actually, because it's usually the chat that extends our show a little bit. But we got 6 people in the room, which is great. So hi, say hi in the chat. It'd be great. Good to know who's here. Yeah. So June on the Range is a book event started by Michael K. Vaughan, and it's celebrating Western literature. And it's been really good for me because I think, Jim, you've always read Westerns, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love them.
Yeah. So it's a new thing for me. So it's the 3rd time I've done it. And I'm officially co-hosting this year, which means I really have to read some. But it's been great for me. Every year I've read some really interesting things. So I think some people, the Westerns is a new thing, and it's just they're just really cool things to read if you find the right ones as well. So I've read some average ones, but I've read some brilliant ones. And I really wanted to do a video on Red Dead Redemption, and I said to in the chat, I said, who wants to do it? And me and Jim had already spoken about Red Dead Redemption, I think, in a live stream, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And then Jim was like, I'll do it. So we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about the reading from it. Do you want to tell us what you've been reading for June on the Range?
I haven't done a video for like a couple of weeks, and it really wasn't intended. I didn't expect to take any kind of hiatus. It just worked out that way, I reckon. But I've been reading Westerns. I've been reading every short story I can. I've got 2 collections, The Best of the West, the Lawman and the Gunfighter. So I've been reading them. I read a double Western, a Ray Hogan Western, which he's really good. Ray Hogan's really good. And that's the Sean Starbuck series. Now it's a whole series where he's looking for his brother. His older brother left home, and then his father dies, and he has to go find his brother. Just look for him across the West. He doesn't know where he is, but he's trying to track him down, and he needs to find him so that they can settle their the property and the money that their dad left to them. So that's a really good series. And now I'm going to have to track them all down. I have no idea how many there are, but there was 2 in that. But I got to have to track them down because they were really good. And then I just finished up. I showed you this earlier, but The Outlaw Josie Wales. I just finished this up last night. The first one, Gone to Texas. That's a new favorite of mine. Any of my followers out there, I think Randy would really love this. I know Randy would love this, and I know he hasn't read it. But that was such a brilliant story, man. And the movie followed the book pretty closely. But, and I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I loved that. So that's highly recommended.
This might be a really ignorant thing to say, but are they written by Josie Wales, or was that a crazy thing to say?
No, it's written by Forrest Carter, the writer Forrest Carter. And there's 2 books in here, Gone to Texas and The Vengeance Trail of Josie Wales. So yeah, that's really good. But yeah, and I haven't been doing videos for a couple of weeks, but I've been trying to do posts on YouTube, just little photos and what I've been reading to try to get people caught up. But to anybody who's following me or, followers, and I apologize, I haven't had any videos out. I'm going to try to do one probably tomorrow, and I don't even know why. I just, it's just been summertime, and I just,
time flies.
Yeah, time flies, and time got away from me. So I'll do one tomorrow, more than likely, just to let everybody know. So how about you? What have you been up to?
So I've been reading Shane. The author of Shane wrote First Blood. So Jack Schaefer. I read Shane 2 years ago. So that was the big one for me in the first June on the Range. Shane was. Last year I read True Grit. So this year I found this, and it's just a random find in a secondhand bookshop. And because he wrote Shane, I thought, I'll give it a go. And it's brilliant. It's really, really good. So I think this guy's clearly just a really good writer. He's really good with character, and you really get a sense of the tension as well with him trying to with the main character. What's the main character's Jesse? That's it. Jesse Harker is trying to bring these people to justice. He's a young guy, and he looks up to these two characters that are both in different got different motivations for either going against him or going with him. And there's a really cool tense bit at the end where Jesse's got to make a decision about whether or not he shoots someone or not. It's really cool. So yeah, First Blood's a really good one. And I will pick up the Richard Matheson stuff which I've got upstairs, but I've also got these two lined up that I might be able to get to as well. I realise that we haven't got long for the end of the month, so it might only be one, maybe two more books for June on the Range. That's Boulder Dam by Zane Grey. And I did read the Zane Grey one last year, and it was really good. He's a good writer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Boulder Dam.
He's of his time, though. He wrote early 1900s, so it's a little. I don't want to say dated. I got hacked one from one of my commenters about that. It's just of its time. It's very melodramatic. His type of writing, but it's still good. He's great at description, and he's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
I just understand going into it. It's a little melodramatic, Zane Grey, but
yeah. I think melodrama was really popular in those times, so it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then A Town Called Bastard, which I just love that. I love that title, A Town Called Bastard. And this is a novelization of a film, so it says on there by William Terry, based on the original screenplay by Richard Aubrey. So it's definitely a film tie-in. So I should be able to. I reckon I should read that quite quickly. And things are settling down a little bit in my life in general. I should be able to get more reading done because my reading slowed down a little bit. So yeah, should be a bit better.
Well, you had a good Father's Day outing there. With
2 days. Yeah.
Oh, over 2 days.
Yeah, because I couldn't see both my kids on the same day, so I saw my daughter on the Saturday and my son on the Sunday.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Well, looks like you had a lot of fun.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'll probably bring up my son because we used to play a lot of Red Dead Redemption together. So we definitely need to mention Undead Nightmare, don't we?
Oh yes, for sure. It's a nice way to bond with your kids, isn't it? Because I did the same with a couple of my kids.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome. Right, let's just say hello to a couple of people, and then we'll start talking about the game. So Aaron Hook's here. Nice one. Hi, Aaron. Even though Red Dead Redemption is a great game, I really need to buy it so I can play it again. Yeah I thought I'd stopped by now, but I just keep coming back to it. That's the only one I still play, really, because I'm not a massive gamer, but I do miss it when I don't play it. So,
which one you're referring to specifically?
Well, at the moment, I actually do miss the first one, but I went back to the second one, so I want to go back to. I want to complete the story again, and then I'll go on to the online, and I've got to build it up again because basically I had quite a lot of. I was on, I don't know, level. What was I on? Probably on about level 70 or something. And then my PS4 packed up, and I had to get it fixed. And once I got it fixed, I had to start everything from the beginning again. But, you know, I remember really thinking, oh my god, you know, I really want to play it now, and I can't because my PS4 was knackered. So yeah.
I haven't played online for about a year. It's been a while. I was pretty heavily into doing the online, but like I said, I haven't played that for quite a while now. I'm gonna have to get back into it.
We should hook up.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. We'll talk about the gameplay and what you can do on the game in a minute. But Ariane's here. Hi, Ariane. I don't play video games, but happy to be here. That's cool. Hopefully, we'll be an entertaining conversation anyway. I'm participating in Dune and Range. Awesome, for the first time, and have absolutely fallen in love with this genre. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting because that's I think that's what Mike was thinking. You know, if he just tried to get people to try out westerns, they realize how cool they are.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I'm glad, Ariane.
Yeah. Aaron says Forrest Carter was an interesting character, to say the least.
Oh, how so, Aaron? I don't know much about him.
Tell us more.
Yeah. All I know is I loved the first book. Like I didn't expect going in that it was going to be so good, but it's like a new favorite. And he uses punctuation. Go figure. He uses quotes and punctuation. Everybody goes on about Blood Meridian, but I don't want to say I disliked that book, but I did not finish it. And I don't know. Everybody, I think they say they didn't like the violence in it, but the violence didn't bother me. It just, I mean, what's the matter? You can't use punctuation and quotations. You know, it made it difficult to read. And I just said, I don't need this. You know,
don't need this hassle.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try it again one day, Blood Meridian, but I really have no interest. I mean, this for me, Gone to Texas or The Outlaws Josie Wales, like so good. It's what Blood Meridian maybe should have been. I mean, it was violent. It was violent. It told a good story, good characters. It was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't read Blood Meridian yet. I have read one Cormac McCarthy, which was No Country for Old Men, which I did. I really liked it, but I don't really see the benefit of messing around with punctuation and speech.
It comes across as pretentious to me. I don't understand why you're so much better than everybody else. You don't need to learn punctuation. Honestly.
Yeah, if a full stop and the capital letter is good for everyone else, it's good for you as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I want to ask you, how's my picture? Do I look clear? Am I freezing up or am I okay?
You look awesome.
Oh, good.
You look like a cowboy. I couldn't get hold of a hat for this one. I got it for the announcement of Dune and Range. I didn't get one for the thing, but I have got a shirt that maybe fit suits. So.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say this is my Arthur Morgan hat. So, and I actually had this before the game, and it was perfect. So it works out well. And I got my Outlaws for Life shirt on.
Yeah, that is actually a Red Dead shirt, isn't it?
That's an actual Rockstar merch. Yeah, merchandise.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking at that today. I was looking at their website because I was wondering if there was anything I could learn from their website. But the website has got lots of images, and it's got a store where you can get t-shirt stuff, but it doesn't really say a lot about the games or anything, does it? Which surprised me.
There's not a lot of merchandise either, though, for the Red Dead game. I know there's some exclusive deluxe stuff, but there's not, like other games and movies where there's merchandise, just, tons of it. Red Dead doesn't have a lot of merchandise. They had the T-shirts. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some sort of random kind of what's the word? Kind of like more independently made Red Dead T-shirts as well around.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Once you know about it, it's such an amazing thing, isn't it? It's such an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about it. And like you, it's infinitely replayable. I never want to get rid of them because it's just nice when you need to. You can get lost in that world,
And you really do get lost.
Yeah, you can just go in and just ride around and just take in the views or do a little hunting, or there's all kinds of things you can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Let's just get a couple more quick comments, and then I'll just introduce the game, and then we'll chat about it. So,
Yeah.
Aaron says the film "A Town Called Bastard" is enjoyable, and it must be one of the best spaghetti western film titles ever. Town Called Bastard. Absolutely, I've got to read it. Carter was a segregationist activist during the 50s. Wow. And wrote speeches for George Wallace. Then in the late 60s, he reinvented himself as an author who was partial of Indian and it's partly in Native American. That's interesting.
Yeah. Apparently, I think it said he was part Cherokee or something like that. But yeah, he's very very sympathetic to the native Indians in the story. You know.
Okay.
Which I liked. It was such a great story.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about him. I didn't know that much about him.
Ariane, like your shirt.
Thanks, Ariane.
Ariane says, maybe I'll learn something about the game and impress my 15-year-old son. Get him to play with me. Yeah. I mean, some of this is going to be us trying to remember it because neither of us have written particularly a lot of notes, but I've got some things that are really interesting facts about the second game that I got from my son because I said, give me some, because his friend did an academic piece on Red Dead 2.
Really?
So he said, oh, my friend will be able to tell you loads. And I was like, okay, yeah, give me some stuff. And there's some really interesting things that I was going to bring up later. But yeah, a lot of it's going to be us just remembering, isn't it?
Yeah. My memory's not the greatest, but I mean, I think I'm okay remembering. I've got the 2 game manuals here too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and I've got them for both. So if we need to refer to something, I could open up the manuals and see.
That's right. Well, one of the things I'll be really pleased if we don't do is just forget really big things. Like I was saying earlier to my son that there's like stuff that you really appreciate while you're playing it, but isn't part of the main story. Like you can like herd cows for a bit, or you can train you can kind of tame horses, can't you, randomly in the game. You can play like skill building exercises and stuff like that. You can get a job for a bit.
If you want to get the like 100% game award, you know, like you get awarded, you know, for playing the game 100%, you know, of completion, you have to tame all the horses and you know, get all the birds, you know, all the bird species, all the flora and fauna, and there's all these challenges. If you do all the challenges, that kind of thing, then you get 100% of the game. And actually, I'm doing my second playthrough, and I'm working on that, which I have.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't played it.
What percentage are you on?
What's that?
What percentage are you on?
Oh God, I'm at like 98% or 96%, something like that.
Sweat out here.
So, my wife's just come in from going. Where did you go? Rock and roll bingo, wasn't it?
There wasn't any bloody rock and roll bingo, was there?
Was there not?
It was that sort of thing, watching the football.
Football's on. So the rock and roll bingo was stopped. No. So yeah, we're talking about Red Dead. Say hello to the people watching.
Hello to the people watching.
That's my wife.
Hi.
This is nice. She's very nice. You forgot that bit.
She's very nice. Is it too late?
Yeah, it's too late. I am very nice though.
How
Bye,
are
people
you?
watching.
Jim.
Right.
Yes. So.
Well, ma'am. So yeah, I mean, I'm stuck on there's a few really difficult ones, like the gambling challenges are tough. There's 1 or 2 that I haven't been able to get, and I think I'm trying to get a 3-star bat carcass or something like that. That's giving me a tough time. But like I said, it's been like even the regular game, I haven't played that for like about a year or so. So I have to get back into it.
Yeah, I found, because I was trying to do all these extra bits to try and get the percentage up, and there's so many, like a mountain of things you can do in the game. And I remember when I started doing the treasure hunt stuff, when you were looking for the treasure, that I found that really like time consuming. You go to the area where the treasure is, and trying to read the map and trying to find the treasure was like really hard. So that took ages.
Yeah.
So I remember that was difficult.
Yeah.
Did you get very far with those?
With the treasure? Well, yeah. After a while, you kind of get to know. You open up the treasure, and you kind of, you use your the eagle eye, and you can see it glowing. But you get to kind of know where to look for it in the game. And online does that a lot too. Like you get treasure maps on online, so you open up your map and it'll pinpoint where on the map to go. And then you kind of remember from the single player game, oh yeah, the chest was over here behind this tree kind of thing. So it's a little easier to find. But I swear with these challenges, when you've got to go find a certain flower or something like that, that's the developers getting you to go look at a part of the game that you wouldn't normally go to and appreciate the scenery. That's the impression I got, right? Oh, here, I haven't been here before. But this is where I've got to get this flower. And then you realize, oh, yeah, you look around and this is kind of nice here, and it's them kind of showing off what they've done and what they've created. I mean,
it's a phenomenal experience as far as the visual aesthetic of the game, isn't it? I mean, when you first start playing, you're just like wowed by the visuals of it. And I remember even with the first one, because the second one's even more like this, but the first one we were saying it's like watching a film, and obviously the plot and the dialogue is incredible, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
But it is like watching a film, isn't it? And then you're actually doing it as well, so you're that much more invested in it. You're very immersed in it, aren't you?
I almost enjoyed the visuals in the first one better because it's almost seemed more like a painting, like Red Dead 2 was very, very realistic. But I mean, the original Red Dead was very distinctive and very colorful, but it was more like a painting. And there was I've got some awesome screenshots from that game, when he's first going into Mexico and just the sunsets. It's just like, it's beautiful. Such an awesome game.
I think it might be cool if we talk about the first one for a bit, and then we can talk about the second one. Then we can talk about playing online and like Undead Nightmare and stuff. So just for anyone who's watching this out of curiosity that might not have played the game, the first one came out. Importantly, it's developed by Rockstar Games, so it's been a big hit for them. But a bigger hit for them is the Grand Theft Auto series. So they're famous for that as well, which is also obviously very involved and layered, and that's an open world game as well. The Grand Theft Auto, so you can go in different directions and choose what you do, and go on separate missions and stuff. So they're clearly very good at doing these open world games. But the first Red Dead Redemption came out in 2010, and it was a successor to a game called Red Dead Revolver. Did you ever play Red Dead Revolver?
Never did. I want to. I mean, I wish I could find a copy, but no, I never played that one.
Yeah, because that came out in an older format, wasn't it? An older console, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Red Dead really isn't a direct sequel. It's more of a spiritual sequel of Red Dead Revolver. They're not really connected.
Yeah. And that was 2004.
Oh,
the Red Dead Revolver came out, so that's a long time ago, isn't it? But yeah, 2010 Red Dead Redemption, and there's 3 parts to it. You kind of start off, and you're kind of building up the sort of family situation, and you're getting more, and as you travel around, you're getting to know the plot, if you like, and what you're supposed to be doing, because basically you play John Marston, and you have to basically betray your old gang, isn't it? Because you're not going to be able to see your wife again unless you betray them. That's kind of the plot, isn't it?
Well, yeah. The federal agents basically, coerce you into rounding up the old gang by, they take Abigail and Jack, and they're kind of held prisoner. So John's kind of forced to go and, look for Bill and look for, I've forgotten his name now. The Mexican guy. I'm going to be doing that a lot tonight. where I'm going to be
Yeah,
forgetting
no, well,
names and
it's been a
stuff.
while, isn't it?
Yeah,
I couldn't get access to the first game. I wanted to play it for a bit as well, but the only thing I could go back to for revision, if you like, was the second one. So I'm remembering as well. But yeah, a lot of that first part of the game, 'cause it's in 3 parts. The first part is you basically ratting on those, like there's 3 or 4, I think it might be 3, is it 3 main
well,
leaders?
yeah, because Dutch is the final one that he has to
Yeah,
go after, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
And Dutch is a big part of the second game, isn't
yeah, there's there's been lots of talk. Like I'm on Reddit and I follow a lot of these Red Dead Redemption channels, and there's been a lot of talk about redoing the original Red Dead Redemption, doing it in high def and adding new story elements so that it ties in better to the second game.
he? Oh,
They're gonna add whole scenes, and there was talk about adjusting the game mechanics in the first game so that it was more like the second game, like the horse mechanics and the shooting. Like I would love that, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I mean,
well, I suppose that reminds me of like when George Lucas managed to like re-release Star Wars with extra special effects and I do it all again, and it's like, well, it kind of takes away the magic a little bit of the original basic idea. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's my initial reaction to that. So yeah, after you've ratted on your old gang mates, you end up going to Mexico for the second section. You end up getting involved in basically a massive revolution and like helping out this revolutionary uprising, isn't it? And that's and it gets a little bit harder as well, doesn't it? It's that mission's got a bit more hectic, isn't it?
Yeah, because at that point you've kind of learned the game, and you've gotten better at Deadeye, and you'd hope that you'd be a little bit of a better player. So yeah, it just gets a little bit more difficult as you go along.
Yeah, and then the third thing,
not that difficult, but it's like any game. There's always this growth, right? Where you upgrade and you get better. So it's just that basic kind of game mechanic.
Yeah, and then after you've done all that, and it's you've already played it for quite a while, and it feels like a very satisfying game. You get a third section where these federal agents like say, okay, and you start working with them more closely, and then it kind of like you have to go to what's the place called? What's the main town called? The more developed town.
Blackwater.
Yeah, Blackwater. Yeah, that's set in Blackwater in the third section.
Yeah,
and then it kind of leads to you finally having this big confrontation with the federal agents, and the shocking ending of the first game. I couldn't believe that when first time I played it.
My God, yeah. We won't talk about it here, but yeah, it was shocking, right?
I mean, it'd be a huge spoiler, wouldn't it, if we actually said what happens? But it's quite shocking that they did that, isn't it?
Yeah. And how do we talk about it without revealing the spoiler?
Yeah. We can't even talk about what happens afterwards without spoiling what that is. But yeah, I mean, I would say just like with I'd say with Uncharted and Last of Us and stuff like that, it's the storytelling that is just amazing. And like when you get to the end of the story, you just think, well, that was just a brilliant story that I've just experienced. Besides all these other things that you can do in the game and all these other missions you do and random things you find while you're out and about, which would be cool to get to as well. But that first one is such a great story, isn't it? And you love John Marston so much, don't you? I mean, I just thought he was such a likable guy.
Yeah, he's still. He's still my favorite. And I think I mentioned this to you before. Like when they were bringing the second game out, and I looked at Arthur and I said, I'm not going to like this guy, because John Marston is still my favorite character. But Arthur Morgan, of course, you grow to like him and love the character in the second game. But I'm still in the John Marston camp,
Yeah.
My favorite scenes in the second game, what were the interactions between Arthur and John? Those were like my favorite parts of the game,
Yeah, it's very clever that they found a way. They thought, well, we'll do another game, but we'll we'll have John Marston in it as well, but that won't be the character you play, but he'll be there, and that's quite cool because you end up enjoying John Marston being there as well.
Yeah.
So I remember last time we chatted about this, we talked about Bonnie, right?
Yeah.
When you said that even though he was married to Abigail, and there was this sort of background plot that he was trying to protect his wife, get back to his wife, he kept having this interaction with Bonnie, who was this sort of character that he met quite early on in the game, and he ends up helping the family out, helping her dad out. You kind of learn how to herd and do some farmhand stuff, don't you, by working with Bonnie as a player?
Yeah.
But you really want him to get with her, don't you? You're just like, well, it's such a great relationship.
Yeah, because Bonnie has kind of fallen in love with him, but but John's he's such a good person. Of course, he's not gonna do anything about it because he loves Abigail, But there's this one scene, I think I talked about it last time, when they're saying their goodbyes and John walks away, and then you see Bonnie just kind of looking at him kind of mistfully, and then she kind of kicks the dirt and walks away, and you just feel awful for her, because they would have made such a good couple, such a great couple.
Yeah. And when I was talking to my son about this, we were saying that the dialogue is so brilliant in this in that first game, but I mean both games really, but the dialogue is so brilliantly written that you just get so invested in the characters, don't you?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And I forget the guy's name. He's the guy who was responsible for both games. I don't think he's part of Rockstar anymore. So that leads me to believe, whether they're actually going to do a Red Dead 3, because how are you going to do it without this guy? His name might even be, I forget his name.
Was it?
Yeah, and he's the guy, he wrote.
Dan Houser. Is it Dan Houser?
That's it. Dan Houser. And he's not part of Rockstar anymore. But he's the guy who wrote both video games. He was responsible for the story and the characterization and everything. He was the guy. So
I remember when I used to use Red Dead Redemption when I used to teach a unit in the music tech course that I taught, which was about film scoring and scoring for games. And I used to talk about the game, and I used to play clips from them creating the music for the game. And one of the things that's really cool, because the music is like these different music cues that can happen at any point. So if you're riding a horse, you get a certain thing. And then if someone starts attacking you, you get a certain bit of music. And if you're getting towards another town, you might get another bit of music. It will have all these different music cues. And that is why all of the music in Red Dead Redemption 1 is all in the same key.
Oh.
It's all in A minor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's just really clever, because obviously that means that you're not going to get any clashes, because any bit of music can happen at any point according to what you're doing. So if you start giddying up on your horse, the music will change. So another cue will come in, but it's all in the A minor. It's all in the same key.
Yeah, and then when he goes over to Mexico, you get more Mexican themed music, which I love.
I love the trumpet and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. That bit. When you do go to Mexico and the game stops because you just ride the horse for a while and listen to that amazing song by Jose Gonzalez, Far Away, and it's just it's an amazing feeling, isn't it? It's just like it's just beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Javier was the Mexican guy from the gang. Now that you said Jose, it's Javier was the other gang member. But the music. The music added so much to the game, both games. Yeah. And I'm probably jumping the gun, but in the second game, Cruel World, Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
When in the epilogue with John, that was perfect. That was so well done. And the music, the use of the music in both games was amazing.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. And it was funny because I was listening to it earlier while I was working, and one of my students came in and said, "Are you listening to The Good, the Bad, the Ugly?" I said, "No, I'm not. I'm listening to Red Dead Redemption music." And you got that. There is that Morricone aspect to it, isn't it? And they said that when you watch this sort of thing, you can find this thing on YouTube of these guys that wrote the music talking about it, and they said they were drawing from sort of the kind of cliches you'd find in things like spaghetti westerns and some of the westerns in the 60s. And they had the guy playing harmonica in Red Dead Redemption 1 on the score played the harmonica in Morricone films.
Oh, did he really? Oh, see,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See,
That's amazing.
I don't know about you, but the first game is very, very spaghetti westernish. Like, I mean, the influence for that one, I think, I mean, he's almost like when I first saw John Marston, he reminded me of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And then just the whole vibe through the whole game is just like, this is kind of like a spaghetti western,
Yeah.
And then Red Dead 2, it played more like a John Ford western, like an American western. That was that vibe. Like there were two totally different vibes to me. The two.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I always wanted to, because at some point I ended up putting a poncho on John Marston because it kind of suits, and like you say, it suits the style of the game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
that was brilliant that they gave that option for the.
Yeah, you can change the clothes all the time, can't you? Yeah, and buy new clothes. I mean, that's the weird thing. I don't know if anyone is watching this that doesn't have that kind of experience with those kind of open world games, but you can change the clothes that you have. You can stop for a minute and go into a shop and just buy food, and then you can eat food, and that kind of helps the character be like work better. And just random conversations you can have with people, and the way that they wrote it. The NPCs, as in the characters in it that are not you, the non-player characters, they've got inbuilt full-on conversations that they've written. So it's not just. I mean, sometimes it will just be like someone will say one word as they walk past you, and that's about it. But if you address someone, they will reply to you, won't they? And it's just so clever that how deep it goes, how layered it is.
And I think depending on your fame or your whether you're good or bad, that's how they'll react to you. They'll react to you differently, depending on how you've played the game or the way you're dressed. Even if you're dressed kind of oddly, they'll say, "Well, that's kind of weird, there, partner." Kind of, they'll just react differently. I mean, everything about this game is just you can play it, 5 times, and it's different every time you play it.
Yeah, it's so clever. That idea that how you decide on the morality of how you're going to play changes how people, they either run away from you or they say hello to you and they want to have a conversation with you. That is so clever, isn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't play with low honor. I've tried. It's almost a reflection of what you're like in real life. I mean, you're just riding along and you see a person. And you have an option whether to rob them or help them. I got to help the guy. I can't help it. Like there's different endings to the game depending on your honor. So I want to play it low honor so I can see that different ending, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. I got to play it with high honor.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And because I remember, because if you compare it to Grand Theft Auto, which is their other big product, you are encouraged to be completely lawless and not have any kind of morality, aren't you, when you play that game and just run around, like drive around running people over? There's
no consequences. Yeah, it encourages you to do that, and that's. I mean, I played that game and I played the online, but I don't know. I'm more of a fan of the Red Dead games. Yeah.
I think I think the fact that you do get rewarded for how you act means that it means more when you do act. You have to think about it, and you go, and if you go, and I remember the first time I played it, because I was still trying to get used to the mechanics of it and like the way that the controller worked. You get all these random people in towns coming up to you and ask you if you do them a favor, and there's like a bit of a catchphrase that John Marston says. He says, "I'll see what I can do." That's always what he says, and then he'll go off and you'll either look into it and investigate it, or you might leave it. And I remember the first game I played, this woman came up to me and says, you need to find my husband. And because I hadn't sorted how to work the controller out yet, I got my shotgun out and just shot her in the face straight away. I go, oh my God.
Yeah, how many times you get punched your horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was showing someone else. I said, "Look at the way this game works. How good it looks!" And I started riding my horse alongside a train to jump on the train, and it got really messy. It was just like, okay, well, it's not supposed to look like that. You should be able to do it successfully, but that was horrific.
Yeah. The first game has the same mechanic, like low and high honor. And I remember, I guess it was my last playthrough, I actually ended up getting low honor, not for any, I tried not to, but I ended up getting low honor. But there's a very cool horse you get when you're low honor.
Right.
It looks like Micah's horse from the second game. It's got the
Right.
skull like the white, and then it's black, but it's all scarred up, and it's a very, very cool horse. So there, even in the first game, there's rewards and there's different things you get when you're low honor or high honor, which I thought was pretty cool. And they just, they made that more so in the second game, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the second game, there's like so much more depth to. What was it? I'll find one of these things here. The games writer Dan Houser, we talked about Dan Houser, didn't we? He wrote over 90,000 pages of dialogue for Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
90,000 pages of dialogue.
Because there has to be an option for every situation, Yeah. There's got to be an alternative for every situation. So that's it boggles my mind, the work that went into this and the research that they put into these games, I often wonder what they used for inspiration. Like, I know there's movies like the train scene in the second movie. They were inspired by the assassination of Jesse James, that movie, the train robbery scene in that movie, and they almost took it, frame by frame from that movie. And then the Wild Bunch was a great influence on the second, on Red Dead 2. But I often wonder what books, and what stories they were influenced by. I have the Time Life Western series, the Old West series, the leather-bound books. And sometimes I'll be flipping through and I'll see a picture and I'll say, that was in Red Dead. They must have read this book because I've seen that in Red Dead Redemption, the game, So I wish there was a book out there somewhere where the creators talked about that. And they said, we read this book or we saw this movie and this is how we got inspired and what we did. I mean, that would be amazing,
Yeah, I tell you, something I've never done is look up Dan Houser, the name Dan Houser on YouTube, see if there's interviews with him, because like you said, he wrote both games, so he might have talked about that kind of thing, what the influences were and that kind of thing, won't he?
Well, I'll have to look for that. I'll have to Google him and see. Maybe watch some interviews. Yeah.
But when because me and my mate Rich are going to New Orleans, aren't we, soon in a couple of weeks?
Oh, cool.
And we keep saying we're going to St. Denis.
St. Denis, yeah. There's a site online somewhere where they actually show the Saint Denis buildings and they compare it to buildings from New Orleans, and that's a distinct influence right there. That's the building they used in Saint Denis. There's actually comparisons. Yeah. So you might you might be walking through New Orleans and say, I've been here before.
Yeah. It'd be. I think that would probably be more familiar to me than the films that I might have seen set in New Orleans, which is really weird. Isn't it? So just to kind of give a bit of context to us talking about Red Dead 2, that came out in 2018, and that was a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. And it's a much longer game, isn't it? It's like I don't know, it just feels like twice as long, the plot.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that they were going to put into the game, and they did. Like, people on PC who play it on PC, they can see the content that wasn't used. There's some way to get in there, and there's whole story content and conversations that were never used in the game. So there was a whole bunch of other stuff that they were going to put in that they didn't use.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. But even so, it's still such a long game, and there's so much into it. You can go into the game, and
you can play for months, and you still haven't done everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I got from my son. I asked him to give me some facts about Red Dead 2 because I thought he might be because he's like a real geek about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It says when you smoke a cigarette while in Deadeye, and still make an accurate shot. Oh, so you can smoke a cigarette while in Deadeye and still make an accurate shot, despite it being a separate animation. And
Really?
this is because each arm is animated separately.
Really? Actually, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to try that out now. now, did he know? Do you know, like when you skin an animal, if you put your horse up beside it and dismount and choose the skin animal, the animation won't play. It'll just give you all the stuff. But if you have to have your horse right beside the animal that you're skinning, and then it won't do the animation, it'll just give you the stuff. Right?
That's the other thing that you can do. You can make these kills while you're around, just sort of killing the wildlife. Then you can skin them, and you can use them to get money to allow you to buy weapons and ammunition and stuff in
it gives you food because you want to cook food over your fire.
Yeah,
right?
You can open up a fire and just cook for a while, can't you? And then you can sleep for a bit. And if you
pick spices, you get thyme or mint or oregano, and you can spice your meat as you're cooking it, and it refills your Deadeye or your endurance or your health. It does different things depending on what spice you've cooked your meat with.
It's crazy the detail. Isn't it? This is great. Right? Every single sound of wildlife, branches cracking, mice squealing, almost anything you can hear is in the game. It's not just ambient sounds. It's actually happening in the game. So if you hear a bird chirping, you can find the individual bird making that noise if you walk around. So it's not just ambient sound. It's actually in the game itself.
That's good.
I think it's brilliant.
It's a pain looking for all the birds, man, for the challenges. If you want to get 100%, you have to you have to Google where to find the certain birds. Like I was using Google a lot. Like where am I going to find a robin in Red Dead Redemption 2? And it'll say go to this section. So you had to, go there and then just sit there with your varmint rifle and wait for the bird to fly overhead.
And probably just keep getting attacked by cougars, right? You might go in the wrong place and you're just like, oh my God, because you've just been randomly attacked by a cougar and you're dead in seconds.
God, the first time you're ever attacked by a bear, I mean, my God, that's terrifying. You literally jump and you're, in real life.
So this is interesting. If you kill a wolf from a distance, the other wolves traveling alongside it will mourn them. So
wow.
just stuff they put in the game that you don't even necessarily. This is a random Easter egg that I bet you wouldn't know unless you were like delve really deep. But apparently, there's a robot mourning how it killed its own creator in the mountains.
Yes, yeah, you haven't played that. Oh, okay.
Have you seen it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. If you go, okay, the man in Saint Denis who has the little remote control boats. He's a professor. I forget his name. He's a French guy or something. He's based on Nikola Tesla, but it's a whole quest you do. So you do that for him, and then he says, "Meet me up at my cabin. It's above Rhodes, I think." And it's a reproduction of Nikola Tesla's big electric tower, and he's in there. It opens up at a certain part of the game where you can go in there and you can see that the robot has killed the professor, and then there's clues, right? And then apparently, which I haven't found the robot yet, but the robot escapes the tower, and you can find it up north somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. But it's a whole thing.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
the game's so amazing. There's so many of these little things in there, you know?
Yeah, we do all these extra missions. Like I remember there was one in the first game where you have to try and find. I think it might be that woman that I shot in the first game I played, where you have to find her husband, and then when you go up to where she thinks he is, it's just bones because it's been eaten by cannibals. I think
Yeah.
that's the plot. Yeah.
American Appetite, I think, was the name of that quest. That
Yes,
that was from Armadillo, right?
Yeah, Armadillo. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the guy in the first game, just outside of Thieves Landing, and he's going on about his wife, and you got to collect flowers for his wife, right? and then you get all the flowers, and you come back in the cabin, and I won't spoil it, but it's just that's what I love about the game. It's so humorous. It's like there's such dark humor in these games.
It's shades of Norman Bates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Some of the plots, because there's the cannibal couple as well in Red Dead 2, isn't there? As well.
The cannibal couple.
You randomly find a house, and if you go in it, they kind of welcome you in. They make you a meal, and then they drug you, and they nick all your stuff. But there's like loads of hints that they've been that when they made that food that you were eating actual human flesh.
I'd forgotten they were cannibals. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Like I know who you're talking about. That, and they're a creepy couple because they're brother and sister. But yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, that's the thing. These extra characters, all these NPCs that are in it, and they clearly get great voice actors to make them really real as well.
Oh yeah,
and they're so distinctive. Like, oh my god, like in the first one, Seth. In the first one, in the Irish guy. What's the Irish guy's name? Do you remember the Irish guy?
Irish. His name was Irish.
Oh, he's called Irish. Yeah. But Seth and the guy. Oh my God, it's all coming back to me. The guy with the elixir. The guy that's like your classic fraud.
Nigel West Dickens.
Yeah. Nigel West Dickens. Yeah, those characters are so brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met a few of the actors who, well, actually one. I went to a fan expo here in Toronto, and I met Rob Wiedoff, who did the voice of John Marston. And they don't just do the voice. They don't just do the voice. They actually act it out. They have a full, I think they call it mocap or something. So they
motion capture.
Yeah. And Roger Clark was there, and the actress who played Sadie was there. And I got a picture with Rob Wiedoff, and I got a couple signatures here.
That's awesome.
He signed my copy. Yeah,
that's well good.
Great guy. Yeah, and Kylie Vernoff, who plays Susan. Like, I follow them on Instagram, and I've done drawings of a few of them, and I tagged them in it, and there's a little interaction there with them, and just great people. Honestly, a lot of fun meeting them.
Yeah, I think, did you show me a picture of John Marston that you did?
Yeah, I posted it on YouTube.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, posted it publicly, didn't you? Yeah, that was really cool.
Thank you.
Let's get a few comments, because I think we might have a few comments here. So, Ariane says, is it multiplayer? See, I can get it on Switch. We also have got Xbox. Yeah, so you can get it on Xbox. Yeah, it's definitely multiplayer. And like I was saying, that I did it with my son sometimes, and you did it with your son, did you say, as well?
Yeah. A couple of my boys, we played together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think if you download it on the PlayStation, I don't think. Oh yeah, it would be. They do have online that you can download, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, just single player.
It's single player for the story, but then I know we did tons and tons of Undead Nightmare. We just played it to death, and we picked the different. And we used to do the racing as well on the normal game, not the Undead Nightmare, but we used to do the normal racing as well. We did that together.
Yeah.
And there's and you can do the thing where you have to. I don't know. Yeah. You have to do you can do those things where. What's it called? Like where you got to
Like-
grab the gold, and you know, you're part of a
Rob
whole
the
mass
Bag
of people.
or Stronghold. You've got 2 forts on either
Yeah.
side of either
Yeah.
side of Blackwater, and you got to take over the other team's stronghold.
Yeah, you can do
love
that
those.
with someone else in the same room, like another player in the room, can't you? You can do that. It's not just one player, is it? Doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like, you could make a posse, like I'd make a posse with my son, you know, and we'd be on the same team, and we'd go up against whoever else was online.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
There's one of the joys about that posse thing, because I don't. Did you have a headset where you talk as well? Because I never did that. Did you do that?
well, no, not at the time. I have one now, but when we played the original game, we didn't have a headset to play.
Did you have if you made a posse with a complete stranger somewhere else in the world or whatever, and you went around doing stuff with him? Did you have signals that meant I'm a friendly guy?
Yeah, you'd whistle. You know, like for your
Right.
horse, you'd whistle and jump up and down. Jump
Yeah,
up
I
and
used
down.
to make the horse go "Boo," like that, and then
Yeah.
I think that was the way of going. I'm not going to attack you, and then we
But-
go off.
But then
Yeah.
even guys that did that, they just turn on you and shoot you in the head anyway. You know,
Yeah,
that's the risk with multiplayer, like online. There's always
yeah,
people like
that's
that.
true.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And the amount of times you're doing something and there's like some 6-year-old boy just like shouting,
Oh.
"Yeah, I got you, motherfucker," and all that, and you just think, "What the hell?" Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just a weird part of gaming, isn't it?
Yeah. Playing
But
poker.
maybe,
I used to love playing poker online.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but the thing is,
I've
like
spent
you said,
hours and hours and hours just playing poker on Red Dead.
me too. But then you get a kid, and all the cards aren't even up, and he goes all in. Like, you know, it's a kid at that point, and you can't play a decent game of poker because he goes all in right away. Okay, side out.
Yeah, go back in, try and find another room. Yeah.
Let's find a real poker player.
Yeah. And sometimes it was a really cool game, and you think this is really interesting. And then it's just that the game mechanics have set up a poker game for you, and that's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I love
As well as all these other games like the horseshoe game. Remember when you throw the horseshoes?
yeah.
What other games were there?
There was like blackjack and liar's dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poker's the best though.
Yeah, definitely. I did it for hours and hours and hours. I'd do it now. I mean, I'll still. Once I get go on.
I was going to say it's unfortunate, like with the first game, like the multiplayer is still there, but if you go on and you try to set up a poker game or do a PvP, nobody comes on to play the game with. You know.
Well, I think that's because the mechanics just got ruined, didn't they? Because apparently, I mean, there's loads of glitches everywhere, but apparently it's because people kept adding mods, and they did it so much on the first Red Dead, it just killed it completely. That it's like glitch city everywhere. So I was really gutted about that, because I found that I just couldn't play it because it would just go. It would take me out, or there'd be like random things on the screen that don't work and things like that. So when the second one came out, I was really thinking about it.
But the thing is, though, Gareth, I think it's been long enough now that if you can still go on multiplayer for the original game, like I'll go on occasion, and the glitches are gone. Like the modders have moved on. So, you know, because I stopped playing for the longest time for that same reason. Like you'd go into McFarlane's Ranch, and there'd be like 100 of the same character running around, or there'd be a carriage, suspended in the air, and players come on and they'd be invincible. You couldn't kill them with anything. But that's kind of it's not like that anymore. Like you can go on, and if there are players who want to play, and you sign on to a PvP or a poker game, if you're lucky, you can get in. But the brilliant thing is that Red Dead 2 did with like the PvP. You can go on as a single player and still get into the PvP game sessions. But on the original one, you have to have somebody come on with you to access these separate games. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I kind of wish it was a little different, because now all those PvP sessions for the original game are kind of sitting there not getting used, not getting utilized.
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because those are great games. Great games.
Did you repeatedly go on to Pike's Basin and just like complete that mission and then just start it again, just go off and come back again? Did you keep doing that?
Yeah. All the time. All the time.
You'd go out far enough so that see the red dots again and go, right, let's go back and then just do the same hideout. Yeah. The Pike's Basin was the best one, wasn't it?
What's that?
Pike's Basin was the best one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pike's Basin. Yeah. Yeah. In both games. I love that. You can just sit up on the cliff and just, pop everybody off. Yeah. And you go, I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to do it. And I'm only going to do it on horseback and just run around and see how far I can get without, or you go, right, this is what I'm going to do it. And I'm trying to do it without getting shot once. And, all that. There's so many ways you can try and do it, It's endless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Right. Aaron says there's a channel called Real Pixels, which has a playlist of videos showing the historical background to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ah, okay.
That's cool. Yeah, but look at that. And Ariane says that's interesting. Aaron, a mate of mine at school had Red Dead Revolver. From what I remember, it looked good and was reminiscent of a spaghetti western. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd still like to try it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get the opportunity, wouldn't it? Given the dog's breakfast that Rockstar made of the GTA trilogy, definitive edition, I don't think you want them to touch Red Dead Redemption, Jim.
Yeah, that's true, Aaron. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Wouldn't that be something, though?
Yeah. First time I crossed into Mexico, I was also immediately ambushed. My horse got killed and had to fight off coyotes. Then I got into a settlement and had to shoot and died. But it does get harder, doesn't it? That game gets harder when you get into Mexico.
Yeah.
I ended up really preferring the Mexico hideouts, thinking about it. I used to really like there's one just by the water that was really cool, and that can get quite hectic. It comes from all angles, aren't they? That was quite cool.
Is it Escalera? Is it Escalera?
Yeah,
I love the hideouts there, man. Chuparosa. Yeah. In the first game, I liked hunting the buffalo and bears, even though I had died quite a few times doing it. Yeah, when you go up into the grassy area, into the mountains. Yeah, Manzanita Post up in tall trees.
Yeah. Trees, yeah. You gotta get the bears.
You get dozens of bears coming at you.
Yeah, there we go. Aaron's gonna get the game. You literally won't stop playing it.
Oh yeah. If you love playing games, Ariane, you got to get Red Dead Redemption.
Hi MJ, thanks for popping in. I don't know how old this message is, but thanks MJ for popping in. I mean, it's clearly a very niche live stream, this one, but but it is those missions that you did. So it's June on the Range. It really suits it. I just think it was an obvious thing to do because it's such a brilliant. In a way, I think I've probably enjoyed the Western aesthetic more from Red Dead than I did from all those years of watching Western films because you're in it and you're like and you love the character so much and there's so much you can do and you're in control of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's so immersive.
I
still remember before the original game came out, and I took my son into EB Games. It's a video game store, and they had their TV up on the wall, and I looked up, and it was a trailer for Red Dead Redemption. And I still remember just sitting there, and I was glued to that TV. My jaw was like down like this, and just saying, "Okay, that's the game for me." And immediately, I put in a pre-order for the game because I had to have it. I still remember that to this day. What an amazing feeling that was to have a game like that. You know?
I've got a similar story. So the game came out in 2010, and it would have been 2010 when this happened. So it must be that the guy that I'm about to talk about had just got it. So basically, our first bass player, Jeff, really lovely guy. He was our bass player for 2 years. But back in 2010 was when he joined the band, and we were good mates. And he said, "Oh, come around my house because I've got to show you something." I was like, "Yeah, all right." And then we came around, and he was like, "Look at this, look at this. I've been playing this game, and it's just phenomenal. Watch this, watch this. The graphics are insane, and the music's brilliant. You know, watch this, watch this." I was like, I wasn't really gaming. I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll watch it," thinking whatever. And then he started, and it was just John Marston riding a horse outside the town, the main town. What is it? Armadillo, isn't it? The main town in the first one.
Armadillo or Blackwater.
Yeah, it was Armadillo, the sort
Yeah.
of like the less kind of developed one.
Yeah.
And he's running out, and he was going out into that sort of, there's like a pathway you go, isn't there, that goes out of the town. And he just started, and then he started picking up speed, and he was just like, how amazing is this? And I was watching going, that looks incredible. And then he said, look, I'll play it for a bit. And I was playing, I was like, okay, I've got to start playing games. This is ridiculous. It feels so good. And I hadn't really been playing games up to that point. And then, I suppose I was probably doing, I wasn't playing those kind of games. I was probably doing like old arcade games, and I was doing like, I remember I was massively into Flashback on the Sega and stuff. So I think I had a Sega, and then we got a PlayStation 2 or 3. It might have been a PlayStation 3 for our son, and then that was when we started getting all those games and that. But yeah, it was a real moment of, oh my god, this is mental. You know, I've never seen anything so sophisticated. You know,
it was a great way to bond with my kids personally. Like you said, you played with your son, and I mean that was a big part of it for me. Was him and I would just get on. He'd be wherever he was, and he was a better player than I was. I mean, he could master the headshots, no problem. But it was a good way to bond, over video games. I mean, you'd think it's a dumb, stupid way to bond with your kids, but really it's not. I mean, when my kids were little, we used to play GoldenEye all the time on the Nintendo system. Yeah. And that's when the TV, if you had 4 players and 4 controllers, the TV was in 4 different boxes, and we'd sit around, playing GoldenEye when they were little kids. And it just kind of brought back that feeling, Yeah.
Yeah. Before, actually, I don't know what date this would have been, but before 2010, before Red Dead, so me and my wife and the 2 kids used to play Buzz with those controllers. Like there's like a music quiz thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever get Buzz? Do you remember Buzz?
I think I played something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, I think it was music. Was it music quiz? I think it was music, or was it just one? Was it general quiz? I think it was music quiz. But that was fun. So yeah, you can these things can bring the whole family like in front of the TV and like do something fun, and more active.
I think more so back then than now. I mean, things are almost made now to be isolationist kind of thing, But back then,
it's always up to be playing with someone in another building, in it, rather than in the house,
in the same room.
Yeah.
But it just I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, and so Undead Nightmare. Let's talk about Undead Nightmare. So, Undead Nightmare was like the zombie version of Red Dead Redemption. So it was a DLC, wasn't it? Downloadable content.
Yeah. And talk about dark humor, like John Marston, he shoots a zombie. Didn't I kill you already? Kind of thing.
Is it that game, or is it just the online version of the original game where you find out that the guy who owns one of the shops in Armadillo is like proper racist?
Yes.
Is it the
Herbert?
Is it it's in Undead Nightmare? I think, isn't it? One of the stories in that.
Yeah. I don't know when I
remember when you're talking behind the counter, you're going, "Whoa!"
Yeah. And then I think maybe because he was in Red Dead 2, he's still around in Red Dead 2, and I think that's where they really deal with his racism. He was just in the original in Undead Nightmare, he was just a racist, but then in Red Dead 2, they really kind of get into there's something about this storekeeper Herbert Moon that obviously he's a racist, but also there's a little bit more to him, because if you notice in his store in Red Dead 2, there's a picture on the back wall behind him of the stranger from the original game. Remember the stranger missions?
Yeah,
the guy that was just you thought was death, and John couldn't kill him.
Yeah,
there's storylines in Red Dead 2 that deals with that character from the original game, And there's
Right.
a picture of him on Herbert Moon's back wall. So he's made some kind of deal with the devil, this character, I think, because I think the stranger character is the devil in the games, you know?
Right. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because he's being like he's sort of he just appears sometimes to John Marston, doesn't he, and just says, I'm watching you, or I've got your back, and things like that. And John's like going, "What are you on about? Who are you?" And then like sometimes gets a bit upset and tries to shoot him or whatever. But there's that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely comes some sort of supernatural element,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Like first you think, is it a figment of John's imagination? Is he like his conscience, or, but then you think, okay, no, he's the devil of some sort. He knows, because the way he talks, he knows John's future. He knows how
Yeah,
things
yeah.
are going to end up,
Yeah.
and he has a cabin in the woods in Red Dead 2 in the swamps. And you go in the cabin, and I think if you use eagle eye, you can see all these sayings on the wall. And as you come back, different times, there's a painting that forms. The first time you go, it's just like it's an undeveloped painting. You go away, you come back a little while later, the painting's done a little bit more, and then finally you see it taking shape. So there's just all kinds of stuff like that, that you don't know if they had anything definitive in mind. It just gives you that sense of, this is weirdness, bizarreness.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of my favorite strangers, like the people that you end up talking to and then meeting now and again. There was that the guy that I think the first time you see him, you just sort of rescue him from wolves or something. And then he's saying that he's come over from England or something. And then just each time you see him, he's in a worse state. And do you remember this? And then and I think the fourth or fifth time you see him, he's died.
That was that the reporter, Jimmy?
Is it a reporter?
It might have been.
Yeah.
And he's
really cool.
He's all about the Western lifestyle. He comes out west to kind of live the life of whatever. But yeah, every time you see him, and then you find him dead. I think the final encounter, you find him dead.
Brilliant. Yeah. And there's just so many examples of that, isn't there, in both games that and there's just, I don't know, it's just endless, isn't it?
I don't think I found everything in the second game yet. I mean, I'm on my second playthrough, and there's still, like I'll hear people talking about, like the hermit in the cave, for instance. I've never run into the hermit in the cave. And then there's a guy up on a tree. Apparently, I've never run into him. Like there's all these little encounters that are throughout the game, little Easter eggs, and you could just play the game forever and never run into them all.
Do you remember that guy? You'll probably remember his name. The guy in did you say Saint Denis? How do you say it? Saint Denis or Saint Denis? Saint Denis.
Saint Denis. Saint Denis.
Saint Denis. Saint Denis. Saint Denis. There's a guy from England who's like shouting for his mate. He's going, Gavin. That's it. Where's Gavin? Gavin.
And for the longest time, people were talking online about, okay, where do we find Gavin? And then the people say, oh, I found Gavin, but you never find Gavin, and he's still looking.
You have to follow him, don't you? And then you.
He wanders, though. You don't find Gavin. He never finds him, and he's still looking for him, like whatever, 20 years down the road or 15 years, whatever the time is, but between the beginning and the end. And you see him again. He's still looking for Gavin. He just looks like an old guy, and he's still looking for his friend Gavin, his mate. Where's my mate Gavin? It's just a little something they threw in, and it doesn't have a resolution.
But I don't know why. My memory tells me there was, but I don't know if
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't think.
I think I looked it up and ended up following him and seeing where it led. I'm going to see if there is if I'm making this up. Because where is Gavin? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. Gavin's his donkey.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Really? Really?
You expect it to just be another English guy, don't you?
Yeah.
But it's this donkey.
Oh, hold on. I think we got a hold on. We got a package coming to the door.
Yeah, cool. I'll have a look at these while we're.
Hello?
While we're.
Hold on. I'll let you in. Sorry, guys.
That's very clever. So what? So you get a knock on your door and it goes to your phone.
Well, we're in an apartment building, so they buzz to my phone, and I can talk to them and just buzz them in. So and then
That's
he'll come
really
in.
cool.
Yeah, he'll drop it in front of our door. But my wife's got some
It's
projects.
amazing what they can do nowadays, isn't it?
What's that?
It's amazing what they can do nowadays.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Aaron says, "Isn't there a vampire in Saint Denis?"
Yes. Yeah.
Have
Well,
I seen them?
yeah. You have to look at there's sayings on the walls throughout town, throughout the city, and if you look at every one of the sayings, then the vampire at a certain time of night in an alleyway. But is he a vampire? He thinks he's a vampire. You know, and he's killing people.
I haven't encountered that one.
Yeah, he's killing people, right? And you come across the bodies, but finally you find him, and he attacks you. So you can either lasso him or kill him or whatever, but you get a special knife from him. So yeah, it's just one of those things, one of those little quests or missions that, you know, I mean, you could play the game and never know this. Never know to look for this guy.
And in both games as well, there's certain areas. Well, definitely in the. I'm wondering if there's an equivalent in the second one. Thinking about it, in the first one, if you go to Thieves Landing, it's more lawless, isn't it? And you can get away with just starting a fight.
Yeah,
and you don't, and the police don't all turn up. But you do it in Black. You can't do it really in Blackwater, do you? If you do it in Blackwater, that's it. You've been arrested straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Thieves Landing is a good laugh.
But the guys in Thieves Landing will still shoot at you. It won't be law. You won't get arrested, but all the people in Thieves Landing will start, you know, a shootout with you.
Yeah, but then if it gets really hectic and you get out of the town and come back later, they've forgotten about you, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's more lawless. But you can't do that anywhere else. If you go back, then there's like a bounty on you, isn't there? And there are consequences, isn't there, for what you've done?
Yeah, you'll build up a bounty. And if you don't pay your bounty off, then the bounty hunters come after you, you know?
Yeah.
And you either got to shoot it out with them or escape from them, run away from them.
Yeah. And if you're not careful, that could be like really hectic. You can have like just tons of people chasing after you and you just think, oh, what have I done? I've just made this really difficult to play.
Oh my God. Red Dead, you know, I mean, the higher your bounty, the more difficult, the more they send after you. Like they'll send dogs after you. You know, and more bounties, and it just gets more and more difficult. And then if you get killed by one of the bounty hunters, then you get money taken off. Like you'll respawn, but you'll have lost like $100 or $200 of the money in your wallet.
Yeah. So, did you do the thing on the online version of the first game where I'm just all coming back to me now, where you went into Armadillo and you just went on the roof of the saloon and just stayed there on the roof for ages, going to different parts of the roof, racking up the people and just kill tons and tons of people.
Yeah, just rack your bounty up. That's probably a challenge too. I think if you get over $1,000 bounty, like that's a challenge. That's something you got to get. And in PvP, if you're playing in the original game, a PvP game where you happen to be an armadillo, that's a perfect spot. Right up on the roof of the saloon, just picking everybody off, you know.
Yeah. And then you're like quite happy doing that. And then some other player comes along and just shoots you for no reason. You go, oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There's some good players out there. I'm not one of them, unfortunately.
Or going into sometimes you can go into the shops in Armadillo and go behind the counter, and they're kind of good places to do those shootouts as well.
Now you said you did play online for Red Dead 2.
Yeah. I've got really far, but then I've had to start again. So I'm in the middle of starting the story again, and getting back into it, and then I'm going to do the online again. So build that up again.
Yeah, because I love the what is it they call it? One of the PvPs where is it Stronghold, where you can go to Blackwater or Fort Mercer,
Yeah.
and you basically
Yeah.
have to hold off waves and waves of these enemies coming in. And
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
those. And then
Yeah,
Halloween, if you're on for Halloween, they'll have these kind of zombie characters coming at you too, right?
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Very
Fort
cool.
Mercer was a really good hideout to do, wasn't it? I think that Fort Mercer was another favorite. Like Pike's Basin was good, but
Yeah.
Fort Mercer was good because there was those different things you can hide behind and different places you can go in the fort to
I
fight,
think
wasn't it?
Fort Mercer is probably my favorite. I think
Yeah,
just for PvP or whatever. It's just such a great little area location.
yeah.
But you got to watch out for those snipers, though, boy. They'll pick you off. You know, you'll be up on the wall and you'll be keeping everybody away, but then there's a sniper way up there, and you'll see the sun glance off his sniper scope, but he'll shoot you in the head before you even know what the heck happened.
Well, there's certain things you can do to make it slightly easier. If you get the ones on the end first, the other ones that are snipers, and there's a few you can get. If you know there's one in a particular room, you can just quickly smash the doors open, get that one.
Yeah,
because they're not going to go, putting the gun out the window and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? If you know where they are once you're playing, you can do it in a certain order, can't you?
Yeah. Once you get familiar with the game and where they spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's very clever that it's not like exactly the same every time, is it? So if you don't get something straight away and they move around, then they're somewhere else.
Yeah, I think in the first game it was more predictable, but then when you're playing in Red Dead 2, I think it's more random. The spawning points are more random. So yeah, it's tough though, man. It just like when you get the waves of these enemies coming at you. I don't think I've ever made it to the 10th wave. It's difficult unless you have
the stronghold bit.
Stronghold or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got quite far with the Undead Nightmare version of that. Because if you stand on a vehicle or you stand on like a thing, and you can do it so that most of the time it's usually once you start running out of ammo and you got to get off it, and then you got to run into the mix of the zombies to get the ammo. That's when it gets a bit hectic, isn't it?
That's the trick, man. And then you got the zombies who are spitting radioactive goo at you. Yeah, but I like Tumbleweed for that. Tumbleweed's a good area for doing the Undead Nightmare because you can get up on the buildings, right?
Yeah.
But you got to make sure your loadout is good and you got lots of ammo because you're going to be up there a while.
Yeah, and I quite liked it when I just when you go to where the cougars were, and you get there, you quickly get on the roof of the building and then look out for them, and they come out and you get the cougars. That was quite cool.
Yeah. Oh, Undead Nightmare was great. And I think for the second game I think they planned to do like an Alien DLC, kind of like Undead Nightmare, but again, it's fallen by the wayside. I don't think they're going to do it. Like they set it up in the single player game where you're up on Mount Shasta and you see flying saucers up in the sky. And there's references throughout the whole game where there's like alien stuff going on, so it led me to believe that they're going to do a DLC like Undead Nightmare, but using aliens instead. And who knows, they still might do that. I don't know. Like I was watching Rob Wiedoff's Instagram the other day, and he said that there might be something planned for Red Dead, but I'm not sure if he meant like a DLC or Red Dead 3, like you mentioned. I don't know. But
I think they're concentrating on Grand Theft Auto 6 at the minute, aren't they? But
that's unfortunate. I think they dropped the ball by not giving a DLC for Red Dead 2. I think that would have made a lot of people happy, made them a lot more money. Not that they need it, Yeah,
or maybe kept the game in people's in people's discussions, because I think people are still playing it, aren't they? But keep it fresh and all that.
Sure, yeah.
Do you remember in the first game there's a Sasquatch bit as well, isn't there? You got to find the Sasquatch.
Yeah. Did you do that? Did you do that?
I've been fine. Yeah.
Did you make it to the end?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I've done that mission.
Okay, because there's different parts to it, and then there's like a conclusion when you get to the last Sasquatch. But again, I won't spoil it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah,
But
maybe I didn't.
thing.
It's not ringing a bell, so maybe I didn't. I've definitely found a Sasquatch, but maybe I didn't get right to the end of that.
Yeah, there's more than one. You have to follow the storyline through to the end, and then yeah, it's I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to spoil it. You know?
So many layers. So Aaron said, hold on, what's your favorite rifles in both games?
Oh, well, for PvP in Red Dead 2 online, I think it's the Lancaster because it shoots quicker. You know, like I love the bolt action rifle, but when you have to, it takes longer to reload. So you want a rifle like as long as you can get that headshot, it kind of doesn't really matter what rifle you get, but you want it to reload quick. So in PvP, I like the Lancaster, but if I'm just like hunting single player, I like the bolt action rifle.
Right.
And the Navy Colts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a certain. Oh god, I remember there was a certain pistol that ended up being like the one to have when he did the online version. Once you had to get, which one was it?
There's the Lamat revolver, and then there's the Navy Colt.
I think the Lamat one is the one I remember because it's quite a good shot, isn't it? And
it has 9 shots and then a shotgun.
Gun.
Like it was a real gun back in the day. Apparently, it would shoot 9 shots, and then it had a shotgun cartridge, and that would be your last shot. So that's kind of a cool gun. But then it takes,
and I used to use the repeater carbine a lot.
Yeah, and again, you know what? That's not a bad one to use because it reloads quickly and it shoots quickly. The repeater carbine. So as long as you can get those headshots in PvP, it really doesn't matter what kind of gun you use.
Yeah.
So, you know, but again, my son's better at that than I am at doing the headshots. You know,
it's also in the game. If you hear like there's people who are the stagecoaches, like they've lost a wheel or something, and you go to have a look, and then they suddenly start shooting at you. It's like a trap.
Yeah. Like the woman lures you in, and then these guys come up from behind the carriage and they're shooting at you.
Yeah.
And then she says, they forced me to do it. Right?
Yeah. And you lasso tied to a train track and then walk off, right?
You got to do that with the nun, apparently.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, what happens if you do it with the nun?
I think I could be wrong. Maybe it was a challenge or something, or you get a trophy, but I could be wrong. See,
cool.
I tried to play with high honor, so I didn't do a lot of that stuff. But
okay. I'm gonna later on. I'm gonna find a nun, and I'm gonna tie her to a train track. That's my mission for this weekend.
Yeah,
I must do it in the game, not in real life. Must do it in the game.
Makes you want to play the game, though. Talking about it, though, you know.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I thought this would happen. We haven't got masses of people. We haven't got a lot of comments. But Aaron and I don't know if Ariane's still here, but Aaron's been asking this question, which is cool. Is there anything else that you remember that like some of your favorite aspects of the game, like both games?
Oh boy. Like I said, I think I mentioned it before we got on. Like in the second game, like John Marston's my favorite character, right? But I love Arthur too. But their interactions in the second game, you know, I mean, there's the one scene by the bridge where they have to blow the bridge up, and they're talking, and they both start to light up a smoke, and then they look at the dynamite right beside them. They look up at one another, and then they take off. It was just a funny scene, between the two of them.
Yeah. I love
little things like that,
Yeah. I love the melodrama of the final bit with Dutch, where Dutch continually says, "Look, I'm trying to do the best for everyone," but he's an absolute psycho, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then you get that Micah character who really is like psychotic, and there's that sort of betrayal at the end, and there's like, and Arthur's really ill, and it's really really dramatic, the ending, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And Dutch, you just see him just get worse and worse, like in the first game, obviously, which takes place after Red Dead 2, he's like a total psycho, shooting women in the head, and he's just an awful human being. But in Red Dead 2, he seems like a decent guy. He just wants to do the best for his gang, and he wants freedom. But then you just see him get worse and worse. He's losing his mind as the game progresses. And a lot of that is, I think, he's listening to Micah. Micah's like a little bird in his ear that's feeding him stuff that's making him think twice about people's loyalties,
He doesn't trust his gang, does he?
No, he's a brilliant character, Dutch. Honestly. There's layers to that character, boy.
Yeah, and again, voice acting is amazing. The dialogue is phenomenal. The dialogue's phenomenal.
Yeah, the voice acting is amazing. Everybody did such a great job, and the fact that they used a lot of the same ones from the first game, like the guy who played Dutch in the first game, he's the same guy who did the second in the Red Dead 2, and Bill Williamson was the same actor.
Yeah. So Ariane is still here. Thanks for still being here.
I didn't think we'd get a lot of people on this because
it's quite. It's not like we're a gaming channel, so it's different. If it was a gaming channel talking about Red Dead, it'll be different. But this is definitely, we're crossing streams.
Yeah.
But
it's good
I love
to get
it.
together and talk to you about it, though. It's just
it's nice to do it publicly. Yeah, because someone will enjoy this chat.
I hope so.
So when you put it on, is because like what I'm thinking. I don't know if you can relate to this or if you got your own version of this, but I can't wait to get back online to do the bounties. I just love doing the bounties in the online version of Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
I really enjoy getting the poster. It says wanted, blah blah blah. Then you got to find it, and then you got to try and if you can, try and do it without killing them. Try and lasso them, put them on your horse, get back, and then obviously as you're coming back, the other gang members are trying to get you. I love all that, and it's just like really satisfying.
And your first time's a lot easier. Like each time you do that, it gets more difficult. Like my favorite one is the lady Barbarossa or something, and she's in the mines. I forget the name of the mines. Now, right? That's my favorite one. But you have to get 3 of them. And
that is well complicated. Yeah.
And if you don't have the bounty wagon where you can take them to your own wagon and put them in there, it's almost impossible to do. I mean, for me anyway. You said, they're just gang members everywhere shooting at you, trying to stop you from doing that. And I have to kill 1 or 2 of them because there's no way I'm taking them all alive. Some bounty hunter are you?
Well, you end up getting less for it, don't you? If you haven't, if you go back to the sheriff and you got a bounty that's still alive, you get more money for it, don't you?
Yeah. And I think,
but Louis, my son, was really good at doing the bounties really quickly and really efficiently, and always and if it was 2 or 3 at the same time, he'd just do it, and he's like, "How are you doing that so easily?"
Yeah. It's like my son too. It's so easy to him to do that kind of stuff. And there's some of the bounties I've only done once. So I'm gonna have to go and try some of them again, like the legendary bounties. They're a little bit more at stake than just the regular. There's 3 sections. There's the easy one, medium, and then I think the legendary ones, which are a lot harder.
Yeah, so cool because they're the easy ones, and they're more passive, aren't they? They just go, "Oh no!" when you find them, and then as they're hardest because they are more difficult to catch. So
and then some you have to use your eagle eye and follow their footprints and follow some clues and stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of that. But
Yeah, that can be a little. If it takes ages, sometimes you just think, "Oh, I can't be bothered with this one."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. I remember there's quite an involved one in the snow in Red
Yeah.
Dead 2.
The guy with the wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it the wolves? Yeah. He's got wolves around him. And so
Yeah.
you're trying to get him, but the wolves are attacking you. That's a tough
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
And then there's the one at Saint Denis where it's a woman, I think, but there's different groups and they go all off in different directions to mislead you. So you have to, if you go one way and it's the wrong person, then you have to backtrack all the way and go to the next one that's hopefully still on your radar, and hopefully that'll be the proper bounty. But it's nice how they're all different. You know, they're not all the same. They're all different kind of storylines and characters.
Yeah.
Right.
And every town is so different as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So what's your favorite town in the game?
I used to like going back to Armadillo in the first one, I think, because I used to love playing poker, and there was and I think it's in there's another town which is not Blackwater, or is it Blackwater? Oh no, I used to like playing poker in Blackwater. You got more money in Blackwater, didn't you? Because they're a little bit more wealthy, weren't they? So if you played poker in Blackwater, you got more money.
Yeah. Like Armadillo, it'd be a $5 buy-in, but if you go to Blackwater, it'd be like $25 buy-in or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the stakes are higher, right?
Yeah. So that's really clever. So 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 those two towns are really cool. In Red Dead 2, there's that one that's kind of like always really muddy and the ground's always really wet. What was that one? And it's got a general store as you come in.
Oh, Rhodes.
Yeah, Rhodes. I think it's Rhodes. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I quite like that place. And
there's a gunsmith in town in Rhodes.
Yeah. That was cool. I used to like going in there. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so many aspects of the game that are brilliant, isn't it?
I mean, we could talk all night and we'd still never cover everything, honestly. I mean, more so for Red Dead 2 because it's such a longer game and they've added so much to it. Yeah, I think the original game, I've pretty much seen everything and done everything for the original game, but it was a different time, and they didn't have the technology then to really do what they did in Red Dead 2, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like that thing about it's just mad that they thought, okay, you're gonna have to shave your beard and cut your hair, or it's going to affect how well you can do the missions. I mean, and you got to keep feeding your horse, make sure your horse is okay, keep stroking your horse even, and brushing your horse, or your relationship with your horse will go downhill. I mean, that's really clever.
That was like one of my favorite parts of the game was the horse mechanics in the second game. Like I wish the first game had that, That's why when I heard that they were going to redo the first game and the horse mechanics would be the same as the second game, I thought, oh, that's kind of cool because I love that part. I think that was probably one of my most favorite parts of the game was just bonding with your horse. And they're all different horses and they all have different statistics. Like this horse is a war horse, so he's not gonna shy away in a gunfight. But this horse will. But this horse is faster than the war horse, like that kind of thing. This one has more stamina, but this one's faster. I thought that was just fascinating. I love that part. That was great.
I remember in Red Dead 2 in the main story, there's some really weird missions as well. Like when you have to go and find the guy that's in the gang, that's the black guy, and you have to get really pissed, and you're just like, and you're trying to control him, but he's drunk and he's falling over, and it's just the weirdest mission. You're trying to, you have to keep getting up, and
Lenny,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Lenny. You had to go to the. Was it Armadillo? No, Valentine. In Valentine. That's the one you're thinking of, Valentine. And he's in the saloon in Valentine. And you got to walk around. You're drunk, but you got to go around and find Lenny and find where he is. Oh, and
it'll be like, and you'll fall over and you go, well, what's happening now? And then it'll black out and it'll come back, and then you're trying to get up, and it's like, this is the weirdest mission ever. And you're just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've made it to the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you finished the game pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when
A very
you were playing,
brilliantly written ending.
oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Honestly, it was brilliantly written. So when you were at John Marston, did you go around and find the other gang members? Because if you travel the map, you can reconnect with like other gang members after the
Well,
after.
I think what I did was once, no spoilers, but once I was John Marsden in Red Dead 2, I just went around doing hideouts and stuff. I don't think I did that. So yeah, so that's something else I could do.
Because there's a few of the old gang members that you can find in certain towns, and you can talk to them and find out what's going on with them. Like,
oh no, I did because you go to Sadie, don't you? Yeah, they're extra. Yeah. You know, I did do that.
Well, there's Sadie, but there's also the other members too that you can.
I might have done that as well. God, it was a while ago. I might have done that.
I love that they did that with John. That they gave him, like, I didn't know that was going to happen, and I was kind of disappointed that I couldn't play as John Marston again. But then once that happened, and the epilogue, oh, I'm John Marston again, and there's still missions to do, you know, and you do bounties with Sadie, and that's just, this is brilliant, man. This is awesome.
Yeah. No, I have done it because I'm assuming when you do that, when you do all those missions, you've completed the game. Yeah, you complete the story, and then the credits come up and all that, right?
Yeah. There's you can complete the story 100%, but there's also where you can do the challenge, like you have to complete the game 100%, where you do all the challenges and get all the birds and do all the challenges. That's a different. That's not story completion. That's like game completion. But
which is nigh on impossible, right? But
for me it is.
Yeah. But I'm certain now. Now it's ringing bells that I went to the different gang members. Yeah, but that's making me really want to do go back to. I'm definitely gonna play Red Dead 2 after this. Definitely gonna do that. I'll be on it in a minute.
I'm gonna be on this weekend for sure.
So we got Ariane's had to leave. So no, thanks for popping in. So this was fun. I'm gonna get the game and try it out. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's cool.
Care,
and Aaron said Amarillo. That's is that the main one, Amarillo?
He's thinking armadillo. Armadillo.
Armadillo. Yeah. Just the weed. Armadillo is my favorite town, with the big Mexican town coming to close second. Yeah.
And that would be Chuparosa is the one, the Mexican one he's probably thinking of. Chuparosa.
Jim, you're an absolute expert in this. This is awesome. You went to a convention based on Red Dead, which is awesome.
Yeah, I felt silly though. I was in line, man. I had this shirt on, I had my hat on, and I'm getting in line, and I'm thinking, what am I doing, man? I'm like, I'm in my 50s. but I met Rob Weedoff. I met John Marston. I got a picture.
What are you doing? You're enjoying life. That's what you're doing, man.
That's true.
Yeah. There's no such thing as guilty pleasure. And I'll tell you what, when the games are this sophisticated, you can't just say that you're just playing an arcade game, right? The immersion in it, the storytelling, the all the work that gets put into the games, it's not just a game, is it?
No, not at all. No, games nowadays, man, they're not like when we were kids. Like you said, you're immersed, and people, they take these seriously, these games.
Well, we said when we were playing Red Dead the first game, we said, they should make a film of this. And then straight away we went, mind you, there's no point, because we're watching a film now. It's that sophisticated. The animation is so amazing.
And it's much more immersive.
What's the film going to add,
Yeah, it's much more immersive than any movie's going to be.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they did a movie, I don't think they could do it justice. I mean, how are you going to recreate? John Marston's voice is so unique. And you can't do another actor playing John Marston or Arthur Morgan, The
only reason to do a film, I reckon, would be to make it mainstream so that everybody knows who this guy John Marston is. Do you know what I mean? Like, so people who play games know Red Dead, But your average person in the street that doesn't play games might be like, what are you on about? And it might be quite nice to have John Marston and the story in culture as a whole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That might be nice.
Yeah. And here, I mean, they're making they made The Last of Us and Fallout TV shows. And they did a really good job on them.
Yeah, they've done really well. I think The Last of Us was a moment where people were like, "Oh my god, it can happen. You can have a good version of a computer game."
Yeah, I didn't expect much from it, but man, it folded pretty closely, and Pedro Pascal did a good job as the main guy.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah, and I think he really made an effort to emulate the character from the game.
I think they both really enjoyed doing it. I've forgotten the name of the actress who played Ellie, but she was really good as well.
Yeah, she did a really good job. She was the girl in Game of Thrones, the young Mormont girl. She was brilliant. She did a good job.
Yeah. That's a funny character, wasn't it? That Mormont character. She was like, she was like really feisty, like dominating a room, and she was just this little girl. It was awesome.
Yeah, and everybody respected her and listened to her, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we're waiting. So who would you reckon you would cast as John Marsden then? Just to finish off our little chat. If you did, who could pull it off? Do you reckon?
I don't know. I keep seeing, who would you cast in Red Dead, and I wouldn't be happy with anybody. People said. I just was looking at a post today, and people said Henry Cavill as John Marston. No, it wouldn't work. Brad Pitt, that wouldn't work.
No.
And I
possibly Bradley Cooper might pull it off.
No, Bradley Cooper. No, I don't know. I like Bradley Cooper, but I don't think he could do John Marston. There's
got to be somebody
it's the voice.
Is good at doing, So you got to have that voice.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of seem really like someone that can really pull off the idea of being resigned and kind of sighing a lot and like, and have that kind of world weary kind of look. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I loved his lines in the first game. I mean, when you listen to his actual lines in the first game, just like brilliantly written,
Yeah. Even when he first goes into a town and he's interacting with the characters, there's so much thought gone into how he actually talks, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I don't know if Aaron's still around to see what he thinks about who would be cast as John Marston. I mean, because you'd want someone really cool to be Bonnie as well if they're going to do that original story.
Yeah. When I looked at John Marston to begin with, I saw Clint Eastwood. I think they were trying to give this Clint Eastwood look to him, scarred face, like Outlaw Josie Wales kind of thing, So,
is there an actor now that's like half his age that got a Clint Eastwood vibe?
Nobody's got a Clint Eastwood vibe.
I can't think of one, to be fair.
No. My wife and I were just talking about that. Like, there's his son, Kyle Eastwood, but he has none of the presence that his dad had or had.
Yeah, it'll be someone like soft spoken in it, and like someone who, because that's part of the John Marston thing. I think he's a bad guy. He's in a bad gang, but he's a heroic figure in the game, isn't he? Because like he's
a decent human being.
Yeah. And that's partly the delivery of the lines and his voice, isn't it?
Yeah. And the first game was much more like mature too. Like there was swearing,
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of nudity, and there was a lot more kind of adult, mature elements to it. Even though Red Dead 2 maybe had a better, more adult story, if that makes sense. But the first game had more. It wasn't for kids, whereas Red Dead 2, maybe a kid could play it and not run into anything.
I wonder if they did that because the first one was so successful. They thought, well, let's make sure that anyone can play the second one, maybe.
Yeah, right. But I mean, there's some
and
scenes
it's Rockstar games, so Rockstar games don't shy away from really like adult stuff, do they? In general.
Yeah, like GTA, the GTA
Yeah.
movies, the stuff they get away with in there. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty adult stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't let my kids play that when they were little.
Yeah, no, I didn't. They had to be a certain age. Louis had to be a certain age before I let him play Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So yeah, Aaron says not sure. So yeah, it's a funny one. It's an interesting question.
It's a tough one, Aaron.
Henry Cavill or Alan Richardson as Dutch? Alan Richardson. I don't know Alan Richardson. Who was he in?
Die Hard, the bad guy from Die Hard. And he was in.
That's Alan Rickman. But Alan Rickman, Alan Rickman's died, so he can't.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Alan Richardson, Reacher. Is it Reacher? The guy who plays Reacher in the TV series. That's who Alan Richardson is.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. A Dutch has to have a certain presence.
Mm.
You know. That's a tough one, man. Honestly. and the game is so ingrained in people's, head and mind, and it's so immersive. I just don't think you could do it justice in a movie.
No,
I don't know.
But I love the idea that, like, just people that don't play games discover this wonderful story and these characters, though.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It won't be the same. But I don't know. It'd be nice if there was a version, because I got really excited about the Uncharted film, and actually I was quite impressed with it.
I didn't mind.
So yeah, I don't know if I would have. I think if they'd both been slightly older, I would have preferred it. The characters, but I thought they did capture the spirit of the game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I remember looking at Mark Wahlberg and thinking, he's too young and he doesn't have the look. And then Tom Holland, but again, they did a good job, and like you said, they retained the spirit of the game. I thought. Yeah.
I mean, if you like, obviously 10 minutes into it, you've either reconciled with the age of the characters, or you thought, oh, this is nonsense. So if you're like happy with or you kind of settled into the film as far as the age of the characters, I think you do really enjoy it if you're a fan of the game. I've never been a fan of Mark Wahlberg, but it works because of the way they've written the film. So yeah, I think if they did Red Dead Redemption, but they kept the essence of the game, even if they took some of it out, maybe take the Mexican bit out, and they just add the first and third parts of the plot. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe if they could retain what the story is and the vibe of it. Maybe it would work. Yeah. And like you said, if it could bring more people to be aware of the game and the story, that's not a bad thing. And there was talk about doing a movie. I mean, when the original game came out, there was lots of talk. Yeah. There's an animated film out there based on the cutscenes from the game. It's about a half an hour long, and it's called The Man from Blackwater. And
okay.
Yeah, it actually adds some scenes that weren't in the game too, and it was directed by John Hillcoat, who did The Proposition, the Western, I think.
Okay.
Right. So so there is a movie out there based on it.
Does it make sense? If it's just the cutscenes.
Yeah, it does. It does. And like I said, they add little things in there too, to make it all kind of stitched together and work.
I've got a question for you. This is a big question, and if anyone's watching this on the replay, and they might let me go, oh my god, yeah, Jim, did you find Jack Marsden irritating?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, a little bit. I was in the first game. I didn't want to play as Jack. When he was growing up, and then like he just had a weird voice,
Yeah.
But as a little kid,
he doesn't treat the horse very well either. He's just horrible, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh God, he was awful to that horse.
Yeah.
But no, a little irritating in the first game. In the second game, as a little kid, he was cute. As a little,
Yeah. Because that's the other thing, isn't it? That you end up because Arthur's kind of like an uncle figure, isn't he? And he goes out and he teaches him how to fish and all that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So again, like all this stuff that they go, They must have. Do you reckon they had a meeting going? Are the players going to want to do this kind of thing, or are they going to find it boring? And they let's just run with it, see what happens. You know,
Oh,
and it is fun, isn't it? Even though it's not particularly like fast playing or action or whatever, but it's fun, isn't it? Because I think it's the scenery.
It's
and,
immersive. It's immersive. That kind of thing just immerses you farther into the game and the storyline and the characters. And I think people want to do that. They love doing that kind of stuff.
Do you find yourself sometimes just sort of riding the horse around and not doing anything particular?
Yeah. If when I was playing, and let's say I had a bad day or things on my mind, you could just go online and just ride your horse around. Just take in the scenery and visit the towns and do a little hunting or something like that. Yeah, and it's actually
you just go hunting for a bit.
Yeah, just do a little hunting, grab some pelts. It's therapeutic, right?
Yeah. I did that to get money, and I did that to try and advance and I did it to do like challenges and stuff and get some of the trophies and that. But I didn't do it to relax. I think I did the bounties I did to relax, and the hideouts. I did a lot of hideouts to relax.
Yeah. There's something comforting, I think, about redoing the same thing, like going to Pike's Basin, for instance. It's just comforting, like what to expect, and you're kind of in control to a certain extent, I guess. I don't know, not to get too deep into it, but yeah, there's a certain comfort in it, I think.
Did you get a thing where if you went to a hideout and there was a bunch of people that were already done half the hideout, and you turn up right at the end, you shoot a couple of people and you get all of the rewards for it, and you're like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Or you get it done to you. Like in the first game, you do one of the farms and you get the explosive rifle, and you're walking over to it. Some other player comes in and grabs the explosive rifle after you've done all the work.
Yeah. The race to get the explosive rifle. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The first time you use it, you're like, this is crazy. It's quite fun.
But then as soon as you die, it's gone. Well, you don't keep it in your inventory. It's gone once you die. Then you have to go do the farmhouse again and get it again.
What was the one? That's quite a nice hideout, isn't it? What was the hideout with where you got the town, the towny bit, and then there's you go into the house and then you go down into the cellar of the house.
In the cellar of the house. In the second game?
No, this is the first game, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, up in Tumbleweed. Oh, yeah, Tumbleweed.
Is that Tumbleweed?
And the mansion up on the hill.
Yeah.
And you've got to go. Yeah. You got to clear everybody out. Yeah, that's awesome. And
that's a really good one.
You got to go in there for a treasure as well. Like if there's a treasure map where you got to go into the basement and dig up the treasure in the basement.
I haven't done that.
Yeah.
There's a really good field, and you can go from any angle. You can start from different place and all that sort of stuff, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do anything weird on trains? Did you just go on a train and just chill out for a bit, or did you try and
kill the engineer and drive the train? Just driving around the map.
You end up just doing weird things because you can. I remember I went on I jumped on a train once, and I sat down in a carriage and just made a cup of tea and just let the carriages be on the train for a bit while I did other things, and came back and he was still on the train.
Riding the train. Yeah.
I was just like, I wasn't even playing it, but I was enjoying the fact that he was on the train. And then I came back and said, well, I'll play some more of the game. Yeah. It's
amazing you could do that. Or climb up on the roof and just shoot at the birds as you see them.
I've done that a few times where I must have looked a bit sociopathic when suddenly I just go, I'm going to find a bird to shoot it. And I just shoot a bird. And then it'll drop. I wouldn't bother getting the feathers. Just I shot a bird and just carry on.
That's actually a challenge or a trophy. Like if you shoot 5 birds from a shooting train, then you get some kind of a trophy or something.
Yeah. I've done that one. Yeah. So Aaron says I found Jack irritating as well. It's just, I don't know. I think to be honest, I think they wrote him like that deliberately because you're supposed to feel like it's John Marston's fault for not being there and that kind of thing, isn't it? That he's just a little bit.
They made John a bit of an asshole in the second game, like a bit of a deadbeat
Yeah.
dad, you know? Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't explain it fully, but you know, he was away from them for a while. This is even before the feds took them away. This was long
Yeah.
before that, where he wasn't around for him, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where Arthur becomes like a role model for John, I think, you know, and
Yeah,
John,
like an uncle to him.
decides to be a better person.
And actually, just thinking about Arthur and that whole thing when he's taking Jack out and that kind of thing, all of those gang members have got full on personalities. They're properly characterized, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's again, really, they thought of everything, haven't they? And clearly, what was it? 90,000 pages of dialogue. So
yeah,
so,
if
yeah. I
you
mean,
hang around the camp, I mean, you hear all kinds of stuff that you'll miss out on if you're out. Like if you're back at camp, all kinds of interactions going on and conversations, you know.
so have you literally just gone around the camp just chatting to people as well?
Just chatting to people, yeah. And you wait for a certain time of night, and their stuff goes on, you know. and if you're out just riding, you miss it. Like if you can actually miss it. You know, you could play the game 3 times, and you still haven't seen everything that's going on back at camp.
Okay, so you're saying that what we should do is get in the game, get to the camp, stay in the camp for days and days and days, not do anything.
Well, the thing is, though, for certain things to move forward, you have to go do some missions and then come back, and then, you know, something will be going on.
Oh, do you remember that bit in the second game? I mean, there's tons of great set pieces. Do you remember when they find a mansion and they kind of hold up there, and then then the feds turn up and there's a big fight?
Yes,
that's a really cool bit, isn't it?
Shady Bell, like in the second game.
Yeah,
Shady Bell. Yeah, they have to clear out the Civil War Confederate dudes. The whatever their name is, I forget their name. And then they're in there in the camp in one of the chapters, right? Is that the place you're talking about?
Yeah. But then, because you stay there for a while, but then that part of the story ends with them getting found out because they're always on the run, aren't they? Like Dutch's gang. Yeah. And they get found by the feds, and there's this big fight, isn't there? Remember that?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Everything just kind of deteriorates, you know, like the first chapters is kind of a nice feeling. They're happy and they're just enjoying their life. But then as each chapter comes, just the relationship with Dutch and everybody just deteriorates. And they end up,
and Dutch keeps doing things. And then John, Arthur keeps going, "Are you sure this is a good idea? I don't think it's a good idea." And then Dutch going, "No, I know what I'm doing." And then it just gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then Micah brings in the 2 guys who aren't very, they're unsavory characters, and Dutch starts to listen to them, and they're kind of, then there's definite division in the gang, you know, and everybody's got to take sides, you know. Brilliant.
What a great game.
Yeah.
Aaron said, I like the side missions, clearing out the bandits from the small settlements in the first game. Always a good source of free ammo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool when you find something. Oh, another thing that I really enjoyed doing was finding some really cool like jewelry and stuff, and then selling it to that guy. And this is in Red Dead 2, selling it to the broker.
To the fence.
To the fence, and then getting like, you know, like if you just think, oh, this is gonna be good, I'll go to that guy and see what I can get for it.
And you can do some crafting with some of them too. Like if you go to the fence, and you know you can craft stuff, but you have to have certain items to craft that item, like a bear claw belt or you know, something that helps certain elements of your dead eye or something like that. You know, you can craft things.
That was one. That was one thing I wasn't great at, was the red eye shooting. So if I had to shoot like 3 people at the same time, sometimes it'd take me a while to do that. So was you good at that?
Nah, I wasn't that good at the Deadeye. You know, certain missions when you had to go up against some of the old gunslingers and get their guns. What I noticed with Red Dead 2 is you didn't need to use Deadeye. You know, like
Yeah.
if you went into Deadeye, you didn't have to do the whole mechanic thing that they're doing. You just start shooting them, and you could kill them that way. Whereas in the first game, that didn't work.
You had to. Yeah, you had to for the first game.
Yeah, you had to do that, and I got killed so many times trying to figure that out. But in the second game, you can get around that. There's a workaround.
There's another kind of cliche with Red Dead. When you were going on a mission online, there was this period where people are gathering, and then like some guy just wants to punch you in the face repeatedly for no reason. You know what I mean? Or like, and you're like, oh, I'm just waiting to play this game, mate. What are you doing? And it's just like, and you're like, and there's people running around, and they're just to do something, and they're like, they jump on a roof and then jump back down again. Do you know what I mean? That's just like a weird, like cliche that people don't want to just sit there. They want to do stuff, and they're like, oh, I'll run around for a bit. Oh, I'll punch that guy. You know.
And it's mostly kids. It's kids, I think. You know. That's a problem. Like playing online, they just get so many trolls, right? They just get on there and they just and sometimes they don't make it very enjoyable to play, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and you end up just like, and you can go into another free roam, can't you? And like to get a reset button.
Apparently, they can follow you. You know. There's ways that they get, like if you set up your PlayStation account a certain way, they can actually follow you from, if you change your free roam and they want to really harass you, they can follow you from free roam to free roam. But
really?
There's ways to stop that from happening. I'm not too sure how, but if you have a certain thing set up on your PlayStation account, they can track you that way. You know, if there's griefers out there who want to do that to you, and there's tons of them out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the aspects of online gaming, in it. Let's face it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know. But I guess Rockstar almost encourages it, though. You know, there's certain things they put into place to discourage it, but I think on the other hand, they kind of encourage it because it's like the Wild West. You know,
and also I think those tend to be the ones that play a lot as well. So clearly, it's going to generate a lot of, gameplay if they encourage idiots. Because you
just have to get good. I guess you have to get as good as them.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well. When you first start online, you got to build up your character to be able to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Aaron said, the trolls were what put me off playing online. For a single player generally. Yeah, it's true that you'd end up playing with some idiots or would just ruin your thing. You keep going to new free roams to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But there's less of that in Red Dead 2 though, I think.
Oh yeah, I think it probably was worse in the first game, but they're still there in the second game. They're still around.
Yeah.
They can camp on your spawn point, and when you spawn, they'll just keep killing you. And there's apparently you can go on your camp, but and you think you're safe from them. But if they have a rope and you're in your camp, they can lasso you and pull you out of your camp in Red Dead 2. Unless you open up your catalog or go to the fire and start cooking something, then they can't touch you. But if you're just standing there and you think you're safe, they can lasso you and pull you out.
I remember the first mission I did online on Red Dead 2 was it was a delivery stagecoach thing. So I had to just take something from one place to another. And it's the first time I did a mission online. I thought, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this. And then just at the end of it, another player just turned up and then knocked me off stagecoach and basically got the reward for this delivery. It was like,
Yeah. Do you have the trader camp? Do you have all that stuff like the trader camp?
Yeah.
Do you? Or no, I guess you don't now, but you did.
No, I didn't. Yeah. Now I've got to start from the beginning again now. So I started with the plot. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm probably I'm still doing the introductory stuff of the plot actually, because once I got it back, I didn't jump on it straight away. But I had the urge recently. It might have been Gin on the Range that gave me the urge, I don't know. But I've started the early missions. I've done all the setup missions. So I think like the plot's on the go now. But it's a
Yeah.
long game, isn't it, Red Dead 2, so it'll take me a while, and then I might dip into some online stuff this weekend, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. Like I said, at least a year. I have been online at least a year. So I should probably. I think maybe my kids were here one weekend, and I just turned it on to show them, or But I'm gonna have to go on and play it.
Yeah. No, actually, genuinely, like similarly to you, when I went on there a few days ago. No, sorry, not a few days, about a week ago. So a few days ago, it was the week before that. But a week ago, it did say it had been a year since I'd been on it. So
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we'll have to get on together sometime.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Do some poppy stuff. Get some hideouts.
Yeah, get your level up. I'm 80 something. I think I'm almost 90.
Oh, nice.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit crap having to start again, to be fair, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Well, I reckon we can leave it there.
Yeah.
We just had someone just join the chat, so hello, whoever's just joined. But yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours and 10 minutes about Red Dead Redemption, and it's been a great chat.
It has been.
Yeah. And Jim is an absolute expert and met all these people and got all these cool merch. Got the books as well, which is really cool. The rule books.
Like, look at this. I love these. I had to have these. Look at that.
I know the artwork's really cool, isn't it?
The artwork's amazing in these. And you got a map. You got the whole fold-out map here.
Nice.
I had to have it, man. You know me.
I'm surprised they haven't made a role-playing game from it, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see a resurgence of interest in the game, and maybe they do this kind of stuff. There's not a lot of merchandise out there, but a role-playing game, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah. Again, sometimes something as mainstream and obvious and popular and visible as a film can sometimes generate a lot more merch and interest and all that kind of. So
yeah. But I was lucky enough to get the shirts. I've got a Red Dead Redemption and the Outlaws for Life T-shirts. But
yeah, I was looking myself, thinking I'd love to have a Red Dead shirt.
Yeah, it was like when the game was first out. I went to EB Games. I said, "What have you guys got for Red Dead merchandise?" Well, we've got nothing, just these T-shirts. I'll take them. But that's all I was able to get.
The best kind of customer. What you got? I'll have it.
Just give it to me. Give me the stuff.
I have two. Yeah, brilliant. Right, okay. So thanks, Jim, for popping on because I wanted to do it, and it's been so good doing it with you. And you've met the John Marston himself, which is awesome.
He's a good guy.
And
yeah. Well, thanks.
And thanks, Aaron, for chatting to us.
Aaron
and Aaron. Yeah, awesome.
Well, hopefully more people watch it. Because you'll save it, and hopefully they enjoy the conversation. I didn't expect many people on, to be honest, but it's been great chatting with you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So good luck with your reading. I'll be enjoying A Town Called Bastard soon.
Yeah, I'll look forward to the video. I'll have a video up tomorrow. I'm going to do one tomorrow for sure. I have no excuse, but I will get a video up tomorrow.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Is there a new comment? Oh, hold on. Sorry, there's a new comment. Oh, no, there isn't. Yeah. All right. See you later. Bye.
Take care, Gareth.